Are you tired of a world that rewards weakness and gives recognition for public vulnerability and pointless drama? Become a warrior. Here's what I mean. In a time when victimization and weakness are rewarded and esteemed, in an era where every small inconvenience is associated with shock and trauma, in societies that reward fragility with a responsibility for great decisions, there is a great need of men willing to live a life of courage, compassion and discipline, men willing to embrace strength through their warrior nature. Just as important as this fact might be, friend, what is even more important is to know what it means to embrace such a path, to understand the difference between being a warrior in all walks of life and just pretending to be one with the intent of gaining personal benefits. The world is full of petty men shouting out loud their self-proclaimed leadership titles, giving themselves names that resonate with honor and glory, pretending to pursue noble ideals while being behind the scenes only self-centered pricks willing to gain from the naivety and vulnerability of others. Do not be fooled, friend, by such narratives. Learn to remain critical in your judgment and pay attention to the sources of inspiration and information that you regard as valuable and worthy. Even more than this, build yourself into the warrior that you hope your role models should be. The warrior is by definition a fighter, a man of action, a man who meets and resolves the challenges of life, a man who is pledged to protect whatever is vulnerable and truly precious. This may include his own life, but it does not stop with self-interest. A warrior's care and protection extends outward in an ever-widening circle, which includes family, community, nation, and even Earth itself. In order to be a true warrior and to meet this challenge, you have to cultivate certain skills and values. Courage and bravery in facing both life and death, discipline in training both mind and body, strategy in keeping and restoring peace, as well as strategy in conflict and war, knowledge of your own weakness and strength as well as your opponent's. Keep in mind, friend, that the noble ideals that are part of the warrior spirit are your evolutionary heritage, patterns of your deep masculine psyche structure. Evolution made us all warriors if we just learn to tap into this strength, but remember that the warrior energy is one of the most powerful forces in your psyche, and if it goes astray, it can cause tremendous destruction and suffering. But when it is properly honored, honed and disciplined, when you know how to work with it, the warrior within you can be a source of tremendous good, because without a well-developed fighting spirit, you will have great difficulties accomplishing anything worthwhile. The warrior energy was passed on from generation to generation through the honorable actions and deeds of great men, through their sacrifices for the greater good, through the courageous men that chose to serve rather than ravage humanity. Admire, friend, the strong men who managed to conquer themselves first, who dedicated their lives to helping others, who were courageous and skilled enough to defeat formidable enemies and all their egotistic and delusional forces, while seeking to liberate the ones who were enslaved by injustice and vengefulness. Remember that a warrior is not a man who makes war, but a man who relates to himself and the world around him with courage, a man who embraces and controls violence in dire times in order to end war and unjust brutality. A warrior is a man who is not afraid of who he is, a man who is able to embrace the kindness of his heart in times of peace, a man who is able to summon rage and violence from the darkest corners of his soul in times of conflict. A warrior is a monster, tamed through discipline and training, kind and loving at heart, ready at any moment to switch gears and protect that which he loves dearly. Dare, friend, to become a man that carries this tradition further through his actions and become a humble, strong, skilled and just warrior who fights to protect what is right, who is always the first to help and the last to eat, who has the finesse to subdue his opponents without fighting, but who is also capable of responding violently to the threats that cannot be dealt with in the spirit of reconciliation. Now more than ever, we all need the fierce compassion of the warrior spirit to inspire and guide us in our daily lives, as well as in our social and environmental struggles. Bring from the past the determination and bravery that created our modern world, and wake up to the precious life that is yours to live, to serve and to protect, by living it, serving it and protecting it, and if needed, defend it with all your being. I dare you, friend, to become a strong man of character, a man driven by honesty and fairness, who is guiding his actions by a worthy ideal that serves the world around him. A physically powerful man, capable to adapt to any circumstances. A man with an immovable mind and a heart filled with righteousness and benevolence. A man able to exert violence to anyone willing to destroy the integrity of mankind. Embracing proudly the warrior spirit that has carried humanity for generations to the success and prosperity of today's times. Will you dare to embody the warrior within you and fight for a right cause, or will you pick the path of weakness and fragility applauded by today's victimhood mentality? Your choice will impact not only you,